So who's the decision maker? Mom, dad, the spouse, the kids? How about the pets? Welcome to Dre's Take. Traditionally, it's always been necessary for a good realtor to identify and understand who all the key decision makers were and make sure that they knew they were heard, felt, respected, and included throughout the process. Well, move over Uncle Tim or father-in-law as Sparky enters the equation. Apparently, about 20% of home buyers now consider their pets and pets' needs when making their home buying decisions. And that number, unsurprisingly, increases amongst the unmarried couples and single women. What makes this all the more interesting is that this comes on the back end of a decline in birth rates. According to the US Census, the share of families with children under the age of 18 in the home has declined significantly since the 50s, standing at just about 39% now, down from 52% in 1950. And in terms of home buying in and of itself, the share of families with a child under 18 is just 27%, an all-time low. And in contrast, there's been a significant rise in pet ownership. And those pets are now calling the shots. Personally, I love this because who doesn't love the fur babies? And so I just find this whole thing to be quite interesting, despite my concerns around incredibly low birth rates and what that means for our first world classification as a nation going forward into the future. You see, if we continue to dwindle in terms of birth rates and we're not replacing the existing population, GDP will continue to suffer. And as GDP suffers or decreases, our status on the world economic stage also takes a hit. But that's another story for another day. Today, let's make sure Sparky has his own room and the doggy door and that there's a nice walking trail around to make sure that he can get his legs nice and stretched and get the zoomies all out before you go home to cuddle up and watch a movie. So if you and your beloved fur baby are looking for a new home and need an agent that's going to make sure they consider the needs of your pets, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help, and I love the fur babies. Anyway, I just wanted to keep it lighthearted today. I had a really busy morning and I've got a bunch of stuff I still got to wrap up this afternoon before winding down. But I always want to be able to jump in and give you guys some value or some interesting statistics. And this was one that just kind of, tickled me, if you will. So that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, that's Dre's Take. All right, y'all. Take care.